again, if we look at the setup, should we set the start position? The main kind of static focus now is getting your kind of shoulders and toes on top of each other. Okay, previously on the left hand one here now, if we sort of go in there, okay, line to your shoulders there, you can see kind of the weight now, it's not slightly fair, but you get the idea. You can see the shoulder there, they were tippling forward there, and your weight was a bit more towards the ball than your feet there, just leaning over the ball a bit too much. Now because of that, now what that created was, as we said, this sort of, if I put these lines up here now through the swing plane line, because the shaft one's okay. As you swung back, come here, on your takeaway, that goes to your right shoulder there. As you swung back now, your hands got very, very high and above that swing plane.
Yeah.
So as you're coming down now, you're very, very steep. If we look at this one on here now, okay, through your shoulder, and the golf club. As we go back here now, you sort of shuffle a bit, try and find your spot. Camera moved a bit, hang on. There we go. As you go back here now, you can see you're kind of this side the red line. The right elbow's a little bit lower as well. That one's a little bit higher and kind of lifting up, and your left arm now, just look how much of your face we can see, because your left arm's like kind of blocking that view. And then coming down, whereas before on the left hand one now you see the club was coming down very, very almost vertical and just chopping down. Ooh, a bit longer, so that's more of an overswing, that's why it's gone beyond there, okay? But even so, when you come back down, look at your club there now. That club now matching up with that red line. So your hands now, you're in that position there now, you're just set to come into the golf ball. The club is going to start tracking, your hands and the club are going to start tracking down this line, the golf ball. Whereas this one here now, the club's got to try to get back on that blue line, or you're going to come very, very steep. If you look at the impact of these two, this left hand one here now, almost vertical shaft again, whereas this one kind of a lot shallower as you come in the golf ball. Okay, there's a lot more kind of angle there with that shaft, whereas that one is kind of up above your right arm there, just like almost reaching on top of it. So trying to square the club face up when your club is coming in like this requires a lot of hand action. You got good at doing that. Okay. Problem was, if you're going to play golf, getting good at compensating for mistakes, you just left, right, all over the place. There's going to be no consistency in terms of that movement. Okay. What we want to try and get the sense is that club's going to working down that kind of shaft line back in the golf ball. If you find a couple of shots initially, as you saw, are going kind of this way, just keep working on that same back behind your swing. So you turn your right shoulder into the back swing a bit more, feel the wall kind of behind you. If it's a constant hook, okay, that's the time to give me a okay, we'll get the next session booked in and we'll look at maybe sort of just changing that path and changing the swing plane towards target. But I think, and I'm being honest, looking at the last shot there, for example, you will kind of almost figure out that movement yourself without me telling you, give you information, to be fair. Because if I give you too much information now, rather than working downswing and then backswing and then static, you'll probably forget your setup. Halfway back, go, what's the backswing? Oh, hang on, my weight's on my toes, and you'll fall over the place. It's almost about minimising.
It's about bringing it more round. Like
the golf swing really is a circle, basically. If you look at if you just okay, that's obviously a circle there. If I turn that to the side, that now looks a straight line looking down there, doesn't it? And that's but your circle was too much this way rather than that way. So it's too steep. Now when the club comes in very, very steep, squaring the club face up, or actually what we call releasing the club, is going to be very, very difficult. The club comes up very sort of toe down, heel up, which sends the ball to the right, and you'll generally see guys sort of slicing or pushing the ball off the right. As a result, they then try and figure out a way to try and square the club, rolling their arms or flicking the club or doing some kind of modified version of that, or just swinging the club left with their shoulder and their arms, which then causes their weight to kind of fall forward. The swing goes this way, but the ball then sort of does a lot of this. And when you put a 5 to 3 wood in your hand or more, you struggle. 6, 7, 8, 9, 9, you might get away with it a little bit because you've got more loft in your hand and the ball's not travelling so far. Okay. But in terms of the actual sensation you want to try and again, you can practice this sort of the wall drill at home. Again, normal kind of setup. Swing to the top of your backswing and stop. Okay, that's gone a little bit long as we said in terms of the movement, okay? But from here now, your club will be back there somewhere. Try and think you're dragging that club down the wall. Now you're getting quite close to that wall there. If I extend that wall up, you're not far from that. And again, the wall will be way too far behind. As I'm saying, this is more of a drill. So that position there is good. Your club's back on that wall there. Happy days. Whereas this one here now, I mean, the wall's over there somewhere. I mean, in a different sort of area, because I mean that
Yeah.
club's have to be up here somewhere to be on the wall,
Yeah,
wouldn't it? Okay,
yeah.
so you're a lot more kind of around and flatter. So the club's going down in a lot more shallower position. The sort of stress on the joints, we say, is a lot less because your weight now is more kind of in the middle of your feet and not sort of on your toes at start position. Okay.
Yeah.
So just a generally more kind of efficient, healthier swing. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Does that kind of make sense, David?
No, definitely.
So I think if you just work on that setup, get yourself feeling a bit more kind of equally balanced heel and toes through the feet, okay? And then swing-wise, I say, do that wall drill at home if you can do. That your right hip's kind of turning back, getting that club a bit more kind of over your right shoulder. I think you just swing so far back. I mean, if you actually went to about here,
Yeah, I need to stop.
that would be fine, yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's a little bit more leg movement than you need to, okay, which you could minimise that maybe a little bit. I don't want to give you too many things to sort of focus on, but a little bit less lower hub, it would obviously resist that backswing. You just go back quite so far, because I think now, again, when you're on your left side as you started on your tiptoes, making a rotation was tough.
Yeah.
Now you're kind of equally balanced. There's nothing stopping you, you see,
Yeah,
so it's just a bit more
yeah.
control of you. But I think you're just, the way you've evolved your swing to kind of figure out the faults you had, you will kind of evolve your swing now to sort of just work the good movement you're using now with the club working back here and the better angles. And when the club starts coming back down on this angle more through your right shoulder and even a bit flatter rather than your neck here, as you can see sort of the club there, I go down to like there. Look at those two different gold clubs there.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem a lot in the actual grand scheme of things, but a club going down there or a club kind of taking your neck off, that's a big change in terms of angle. Like roughly what that angle change would be. I mean, that's 15-20 degrees, which is a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so we can get that kind of movement there consistently because you're able to release the club better. You might get a few hooky ones, but again, don't try and change things too much based on a few hooky ones. If it's constantly just like a way left, send me a video through on the range. You may have gone back to being too far behind.
Yeah.
But chances are your release pattern now is just needs to be adjusted as you go play more. So. Okay, buddy.
Great stuff.
Happy days. Good stuff. There you go, mate.